China goes all in on crypto. Should you? Question everything, trust nothing. Welcome to Debate Crypto. It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader, and it is hump day. So I hope everybody is getting their hump on. Crusader, you getting your hump on today, brother? I noticed you don't even have your vest on, bro.
I'm too busy.
You are failing currently without the vest on.
Yeah, that's the kind of way it is.
One of those days. Well, if you're having one of those days, folks, let's spin it around. Let's smash the like. Let's have some fun today. We've got some really good stuff on the podium. Crusader, what do we got crack-a-lacking today? What's going on?
We got China. We got Warren Buffett. We got Anthony Pompliano. We got, we don't got Bud Light, but we got a bunch of other things going on as well. We got XRP.
We got XRP. We got lawmakers talking some craziness. The G7, China. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting show today. So smash that like. Let's have some fun. If you're not already involved with Danger Close Alpha, as always, the show is sponsored by Danger Close Alpha. You can go to dangerclosealpha.com to get any information that you need there. Jump into the Discord. That's where you can actually get more information moving forward. Also, if you are listening from Twitter, welcome. If you want to jump in and do a live call-in at some point, let us know. Drop your name in the chat. Drop your Twitter name, rather, in the chat over here on YouTube, and then we'll pull you up at one point during the show. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Let's check out what the markets are doing, and we'll go from there. The global crypto market cap is at $1.23 trillion with a T dollars. That's down 0.63%. Got to expect a little bit of a move after a move above 30, but ladies and gentlemen, I don't like this. We're down 1.02% at 29,918. So we effectively have not held the 30. Crusader's going to dive into some TA here in a minute. So we'll ask him kind of what that's looking like, if that seems to be a problem or not. But ETH holding over 1,900. So good to see that. Pretty flat through the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what time it is. It is flat. Let me see the big 24-hour movers. Let's see what we got here. We have got Near Protocol moved about 7%. The Woo network, don't know what the heck that is. And then Solana, again, making another move up 3.19%. And then ICP, a project that I'm really interested in. We need to get Daniel from Crypto is Good back on here, Crusader, just as a little mental note as I'm thinking about it.
I shot him a tweet the other day talking about that coming on the show. By the way, we do have somebody in Twitter trying to request to come on up. Just want to let you know we're going to be letting people come on up later in the show. So just be patient. We'll bring you on.
Yes, sir. All right, cool. Now let's kick it off with some big. Well, actually, no, hold on. Back up. What am I doing? Diving way too fast. First of all, got to jump into the chat. Unforgettable name. Shout out to you. First one in the chat today. Secret Soul Society. You know who you are. We know who you are. But I will not dox you today, Billy. DJ, good to see you. Green Day Profits. Thank you guys all for being here as always. And then over in the Twitterverse, we've got Bahuva and Carrie. And I'm sure I just butchered that name. So Buva, or however you say it, I do apologize in advance. All right, cool. Now let's see what some TA love has over there, Crusader. What's going on? What is Lux Algo telling us about the charts?
Yeah, let's go take a look at that real quick. So over here in the charts, as we jump on over, we can see right on the daily, we're having a little bit of a red day, but everything can't be a green candle. Like I told you guys before, next level of resistance is that 32,000, which hits the very top band of this regression trend. We have been coming back down. We've been hovering over this heart line, flirting with it. But our pivot, if we do lose support here at 30 and we start crashing back down and we can't sustain above, our pivot is 25,000. That's our next big level of support here. So that's gonna be a problem, right? It's only a problem in the short term. If you're trading, if you're in the long term, then it's nothing you should be worried about. It's just another opportunity to DCA. Obviously, not financial advice. here on Cypher B, you can see the momentum wave has hit that overbought territory. The RSI has been trying to cool down as well from the overbought territory, and the momentum's been kind of peaking out here. The VWAP is heading back down. I mean, it's just one of those things, man, where, we've had so much of a massive move. We just zoom out a little bit and look at, the weekly. Let's just jump out to the weekly here. I mean, look at this. Let me turn these pivots off so you can see this easier. Just look at this. Look at this massive here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weeks of crazy price movement. We went all the way from 22,000 to 30,000 in a matter of 5 weeks. I mean, you guys can't ask for more
in a bear market.
Yeah, in a bear market as well, right? And it's like we've been respecting this regression trend upward. So even if we have a few red days here, that doesn't mean anything. It's just one of those moments where you got to, go sideways for a little bit.
I want to pull up a question. This is a really good question here real quick. Griff says, I have a question. Is there a go-to site to spend my crypto on food or supplies if they kill off the ramps for crypto? Dude, this is genius, by the way. I know that there's places that accept crypto, but do you know of any Crusader that?
Yeah, the whole I have one. It's called Danger Close Alpha. That's the whole purpose, right? That's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a ecosystem that anybody can get prepared and ready within our ecosystem. So that's something we are trying to build. Not that it currently exists right now in our hands, but it's one of our goals.
That for sure is one of the goals. Don't have that set up yet, so I don't know. That's something to look into, though, for sure. And hopefully, we're going to be able to provide that for you moving down the road. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Let's start there. We've got a lot going on in the Bitcoin verse, and we've got a 10-month high. Bitcoin price rivals 10-month highs. CPI data beats expectations, and CPI, as always, seems to be important. It plays games with the charts a little bit. Let's look at it. So Bitcoin spiked higher prior to the April 12th Wall Street open as United States inflation data outperformed market forecasts. Again, seeing one of the charts like Crusader was just showing, some big moves. All right, so widely predicted volatility entered immediately following the release of the CPI data for March. Side note, that always happens, okay? This broadly conformed to expectations, with the year-on-year increase undercutting assumptions by 0.2%. This was nonetheless enough to spark some optimistic upside on crypto markets ahead of the Wall Street Open, with potential further upside in line with equities to come. They generally move in tandem. Headline, inflation, 5.0 year over year. It was estimated at 5.2, so that's where the 0.2% reduction came from. When there's a reduction in that CPI data, in the consumer price index, effectively what's happening is they're saying, hey, listen, there's less inflation here, even though we all know that these numbers are manipulated, but let's just call it like it is. We can maybe take a look at some more risk on assets as that continues to come down. So that's why it's so important. With CPI known as a classic catalyst for fake out price action, however, market participants urge caution. Says the market will hunt liquidity like every other CPI day, with significant moves apt to spark liquidations on exchanges. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The thought process here is, well, by at least this, who is this that said this? Let me see here. CPI over, what's this person's name? Resource Skew. This Popular Analytics Resource Skew. Okay, Skew says probably one more hike. May data needs to confirm interest rate hike shock in order the Fed to actually consider a pause in the hiking cycle. Now, so he's saying, hey, he's looking for another rate increase. The CME group, which is the tool that I pull up and show you guys, I've showed it to you a number of times. I could pull it up again. I don't know if I still have it up in my tabs, but I could pull that up. But effectively, the CME tool says there's a 65% chance, which this thing's been pretty accurate, of a hike taking place at the next FOMC meeting. So we're looking for a possible another hike. Let me ask you, Crusader, first of all, just a simple one. Do you think, just personally, with no data behind it to speak of, do you think we're going to do another hike in May?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see a pause. I think we're going to see a pause in rates. The inflation numbers are coming in lower, even though the real numbers are probably a lot higher than the 5% or whatever they're calling for. But it's on a downward trend. I think they're going to hold it there. Right? They don't want more bank collapse to happen, and if they keep raising interest rates, right, the whole bond yield curve situation continues to tighten up on the banking system. and continues to put them in trouble. So I think we're going to see a pause.
Yeah, I agree with this comment there, John Connor. I'll leave it at that. I can't speak on that, but I'm with you, brother. He even knows from overseas, by the way. So, I mean, if it's that obvious, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, so
he's actually over there visiting him right now.
True story. He's over in Ireland.
Yes, sir.
¿Por qué?
You tell me. I don't know.
Hey, John Connor, why is the Sleepy Joe over in Ireland right now? I did not know that, but I also don't pay much attention to anything that he says anymore. It's all a bunch of hogwash. But yeah, if you know, tell us, John, in the chat. Okay, so CPI data, Consumer Price Index, it leaves out energy. That's a big one, right? It leaves out food. Like, it leaves out a couple things that I've talked about in the past that ultimately are a huge, huge piece of the puzzle because it finesses the numbers a little bit more. But if we're all playing off the same playing field, it's still the reason that the CPI numbers matter is because they are effectively showing a quote unquote decrease. And just remember, when we say a decrease, it's a decrease from expectations, set expectations by the same people that put these charts out. Okay. But it ultimately gives the markets the idea that, hey, we can get in a little bit riskier if we've got a little bit more money to play with. And that's really what this comes down to. They can finesse the numbers all they want. The reaction to that as a general rule is lower than expected, good for risk on assets. Higher than expected, bad for risk on assets. I'm just trying to break it down and make it really freaking simple. I think there's one more thing I wanted to touch on with this. Where was it? No, apparently not. They have a couple beautiful triangles. I love trading triangles, by the way. A couple wedge patterns there, but no, I thought I had something else that I wanted to pull up there. I think that I would not be surprised to see one more hike. But I also wouldn't be surprised. I'll tell you what I don't see. I don't see a rate decrease at this point. Just with the last meeting, him saying just carte blanche, we are not going to be decreasing rates. Just saying that, it would be a very, very bad look to then the next freaking FOMC meeting come out and actually reduce rates. So I don't see that for sure.
Well, there's actually something that somebody posted on Twitter a while ago that last time, before all the crazy interest rate hikes, they also said something that they were not going to do, and then they went exactly and did the opposite of what they said not to do.
What was it? Do you remember?
I can't remember what it was. I saw this a few weeks ago.
Okay. You're saying one meeting to the next.
It was from one moment to the next. They were like, we will not be doing this. Literally, some time passed, they were doing it. And it's like, what a coincidence, right? What if that's exactly what's going to happen again? They're talking about we're not going to cut rates later this year. Hey guys, we're cutting rates. Sorry.
Well, I think we will at some point. I mean, effectively, we're doing it right now. I mean, we're printing money right now, effectively playing with the what's the number I'm looking for? The federal funds rate, the FFR, the federal funds rate, the rate at which effectively the Fed loans money on all of these to all of these banks. When that number comes down, effectively, you are printing money. It is all manipulation of how do we create more velocity of money. They just want money to freaking move. That's it. And I heard a really interesting thing I wanted to ask you about, Crusader. I heard a really interesting thing, and the guy suggested, it was on a TikTok. It was a long TikTok. I thought it was a little bit crazy, but he effectively said that the US dollar will not fail because of the cartels. And effectively, he started to break down the amount of money, nefarious money, that is transacted in the US dollar. You know, the one thing they never talk about when we talk about money laundering is the US dollar, when it is the number one most laundered. It is number one for.
Yeah, I think the cartels hold like the largest amount of actual physical cash in the entire world.
Yeah, and effectively, he was suggesting that with the amount of cash, I don't remember what the numbers were, but between trafficking of narcotics and trafficking of humans, the number was like literally the value was over $1 trillion. And they're saying that there is just no way for that, first of all, to shut down, where it just won't. And second of all, they can't really move digital in that fashion. So he was just suggesting, hey, it's a terrible thing to say, but the reality is those might be the thing that actually keeps the US dollar afloat. And I was like, oh my God, we are in some scary times when drug trafficking and human trafficking are what's ultimately holding afloat the US dollar, if that indeed was the case. You know what I mean?
That's definitely for sure. We got some breaking news here that we weren't planning on talking about, but since it just came out, I think we should talk about it.
Okay, let's hit it. Are we getting a am I getting a
Here we go.
So apparently bankrupt FTX recovers $7.3 billion in assets and is considering a relaunch in Q2.
Pause for effect. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's happening.
Can I see that? Can you share your screen?
Here you go.
Let me see it.
Bam, slam.
Let me see this.
Here we are. Bankrupt
FTX recovers $7.3 billion and it considers a Q2 launch. Can you scroll down a little bit? Well, I'm going to see where it's one of the biggest financial scandals. Okay. Now, 6 months after the debacle came to light, has been reported that bankrupt FTX exchange has recovered $7.3 billion in assets. Moreover, reports have noted that failed exchange is considering a potential launch. All right. Let's not read this further because we haven't looked into this to know any of the real information on this. But my question is,
it's real.
How? No, I'm just saying we haven't dove into this at all. How does the largest financial scandal effectively of our lifetime, how does that then turn into, hey, by the way, less than a year later, we're going to go ahead and relaunch and push the company forward? You can't tell me that people would jump on board with this.
They will.
For what purpose?
I called this when it happened. I said that they were going to do a rebranding and then a relaunch. And
for
here
what purpose?
And here we have. What do you mean for what purpose? To make a money. Because
right, they're gonna say Sam Bankman-Fried's out. He was the problem.
He did all the bad things. All the bad characters are out of here. They're gonna rebrand from FTX to something else, right? They're gonna change the name, and then in 6 to 8 months, when all of this is forgotten about, and the next bull market begins, and the new wave of people jumping in, there's going to be a new player on the board that used to be FTX, and everybody's going to be like, be careful, that used to be FTX, but it's looking pretty good right now. And some content creators are going to get hit up, right, to talk about it. Yeah. They're going to get some affiliate codes, and it's going to get pushed under the rug, and we're just going to wait around for the next rug pull. And maybe even not. Maybe it might actually like move forward and not have problems in the future. But regardless, people will once again trust.
I wonder how even getting rid of Sam Bankman-Fried and what's her name, Caroline Ellison. I wonder how even with getting rid of them, you overcome all of just the hell that this shown on the. I can't believe that anyone in freaking crypto within their right mind would say, you know what, I've got, because they have other options, right?
It's the magic of marketing. Anything can be sold as a narrative, as a story, and how they're completely new and how they got all these great things going on. And
it's ugly.
It's that simple.
It's ugly, if that's what it is. Speaking of ugly, first of all, smash that like if you haven't already. Just want to say thank you to everybody that is here every single day. I hope everybody is having a fantastic freaking day. Speaking of ugly, got a couple ugly people to talk about in this one. U.S. lawmaker questions Circle and BlockFi on SVB banking terms. The chief executives of Circle and BlockFi received letters asking them to disclose their rationale for banking. Now, we're going to dive into this in a second, but let's listen to this a little bit. Senator Elizabeth Warren, that's one of the uglies I was talking about, and Representative AOC, another ugly, are digging into Silicon Valley Bank's potential white glove treatment of certain depositors. Stablecoin issuers Circle and bankrupt crypto lender BlockFi were among the 14 firms that received a letter from Warren and AOC inquiring about their decision to bank with SVB. The letter, dated April 9th, posed a series of questions to senior executives of firms that had a banking relationship with Silicon Valley Bank, including how much money they deposited and maintained at the bank. Lawmakers questioned why Circle chose to maintain $3.3 billion worth of assets at SVB. The letter also questioned Allaire on whether SVB offered Circle benefits like lines of credit or perks to Circle board members, including any trips or conferences. AOC and Warren argued that bank regulators and public deserve an explanation about SVB's hyper-reliance on firms, investors in the tech industry, and the role these firms might have had in precipitating the $42 billion single-day run on SVP. I'm getting there. Mutual back-scratching arrangements could help explain why some clients place massive uninsured deposits at SVB. At the same time of the collapse, more than 90% of their deposits were in accounts that exceeded the FDIC's insurance limits. Now, let me give a little, actually, let me hear from you first, Crusader. When you hear an article like this, you know who the culprits are that are sending out the letter. What are your initial thoughts when you hear this, when you read this?
Yeah, man, they're just trying to find a scapegoat or, something to blame. In reality, it's just a bank doing the things that all banks are allowed to do, which is take in money, make that money do some fugazi and make them more money. And it just didn't work out. Right now, they're trying to make it seem like there's not a banking crisis, that there's not an actual problem with the banking system, that it's just this one bank that's a bad player in the space, and that they were obviously had to do something bad. And the fact that they were tied up with all these tech companies like Circle, right, and USDC, and maybe even having some crypto in there, maybe that's the problem, right? That's the evil, right? That's why we need to be on a CBDC, because we need to make sure that everything is more centralized, more over, controlled, and it's only going to be safe in the hands of the government. And we can't trust anyone besides the government to keep us all safe.
Well, apparently I don't need to say anything because that about sums it up, but I'll add a little something to that. Yeah. The funny thing to me, I agree with you 1,000%. You get the 100%. I'm going with 1,000. 1,000%. I agree with what you're saying. I think that it's funny that the people who are notorious, which is politicians, for getting the utmost of benefits just from being who they are firing off a letter saying, hey, listen, you're using back scratching techniques. Listen, all of these, if you think for 1 second that these businesses let me give you an example. You've got a business in a city. Let's just say it's a $10 million business. And then you've got Joe Blow down the street that does 50 grand worth of business in a year. They both walk into the bank at the same freaking time, and they both ask for something that's out of the ordinary. Who do you think has a better chance of getting what they want? Well, of course, the person that does all of the freaking business and has money flowing through there. Why? These banks want to keep them happy so they can keep that money coming in. I will tell you that I have gone in, and I don't do massive numbers, but I have gone into the bank before and told them, listen, if you don't fix this, I'm going to close out all of my accounts, my business accounts, my personal accounts, everything, and I'm going somewhere else. Guess how quickly they shuffle around and all of a sudden make some things work that wouldn't normally work. Why? Because they want to keep your freaking business. And when you have massive numbers like these institutions are bringing in, what the heck? Like, what do they expect? And the funny part is these politicians do the most dirty, grimy, backhanded, underhanded, left hand, whatever you want to call it, under the table crap of anyone and get benefits. AOC has been literally, I can't even name how many times I've seen people talking about some of the things that she has done and received in return for being who she is, which is really just a dumb 20-something-year-old girl who doesn't know anything about politics and it is where she is because, well, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. But ultimately, what I'm saying is they receive benefits like this all the time. How are you going to go to a bank, a private bank, and tell them, hey, you can't offer benefits to somebody that's putting billions of dollars into your bank? That's how freaking life works. People spend money. People make you money. Those people get benefits, period, point blank. So sending a letter like that to me is a wild idea. Smash the like in the chat if you say no to Elizabeth Warren and her game plan against crypto, and just no to AOC, period, because she is just a terrible human being. Smash that like. Any other thoughts on that, Crusader?
Yeah, the only other thoughts on that is that it's wild, dude, what they did with AOC. I mean, they literally handpicked a random little bartender that fit the profile that they wanted to thrive for, right? The agenda they wanted to push, and they just propped her all the way up. We're just gonna make this person a senator or a representative, whatever the hell she is on Congress. And now she's like this famous, politician. It's like, you're not a politician.
It's ugly.
You are literally a talking puppet.
Check this out. Wrong again. First of all, wrong again. I think I would recognize if you're new, let us know. Welcome. We appreciate you for being here. This is not a name that I recognize right off the bat, so we're glad that you're here. The fact that money was not in the bank is not being questioned. How about questioning fractional reserve banking? Boom. Smash the hammer. Smash the like for that comment.
That's blasphemy. You can never speak about the banking system and
That's right.
and the things that they do in the background. No. We
Thou
don't ever
shalt
talk
not.
about the truth here. We only talk about you guys. You guys
That's
are the
right.
problem.
That's right. Point the finger, figure out where to place blame. We're not going to talk about the problems that we have. No. That's the reason that we say question everything, trust nothing, because that's exactly what's happening here. Point the finger, place the blame, do all of these things yourself, but then when it comes to somebody else, you're going to start firing off letters about how we've got the American people deserve to know. Get the heck out of here. Get out of here. All right, so that's all I got to say about you. Y'all already know when I get into politics, it gets wild. And as a side note, Crusader and I are kind of working on a little something in the background. We've talked about it for a little while, just kind of reminding you guys, we've talked about for a little while doing our own private website thing. And we are putting that together as we speak. We're super excited about that. And we've got some wild guests that we are lining up to have on, like some big time guests. So I'm excited about that. We'll keep you guys posted as that continues to happen. All right, cool. Let's talk about it. XRP, how I start off all my videos. XRP. Nobody saw that coming. XRP set to skyrocket. If I could see the it would be great if I could see. All right, wasn't supposed to start there. XRP set to skyrocket 47% if key resistance breaks, analysts suggest. Now, this isn't going to be a lot here, but I just want to touch on this. According to Ali, if XRP can secure a 3-day candlestick close above 54 cents, it could trigger a 47% surge in price. This could potentially further push XRP's price to the 80-cent level, which is a price point not seen for over a year from now. So here's the chart. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Here's the chart.
Was that a typo?
What?
Was that a typo up there saying 47% instead of going to 47 cents?
It was not a typo. We're above 47 cents right freaking now. Yeah, so ultimately what they're saying is, hey, if we can break that level right there, there's nothing but blue skies up to about the 80-cent level. So we would love to see that. If it can't break out, though, so we got to talk about both sides, right? Yes, I love my XRP, and Crusader and I have fun bantering back and forth, but you got to look at both sides here. If XRP can't break out of its consolidation pattern and move higher, the 45-cent level, there's that number, Crusader, could be a critical support level for the bullish investors. However, if it can't maintain this level, 41 and 37 levels become important support floors to monitor in the event of a
I'm
deeper
glad they
retrace.
Adjusted that typo and they fixed it later in the article.
You know what? This is the bottom line right here. And it gets boring hearing it this way, but this is the fact, right? They need to win this suit. The attorney and crypto supporter Jeremy Hogan has recently posted on Twitter why Ripple will win against the SEC. He believes that if the judge or her law clerk has a solid grasp of technology behind crypto like XRP, then Ripple will win the case. If it's successful in its legal battle against the SEC, it could restore confidence among XRP holders and trigger a bullish uptrend cycle for the cryptocurrency. Obviously, this could mark a turning point in the industry, leading to significant gains for the token. For me at this point,
you know what that smells like to me when they keep talking about you have to win the lawsuit for the XRP to be able to do anything. Smells like a lot of centralization BS to me.
Well, there's lots of centralization behind effectively. I mean, it's a company that's Ripple.
Ripple is decentralized. Ask any of the ones that drink the Kool-Aid. It's decentralized.
Well, I got my Kool-Aid right here,
but like the whole world, right? No. We just talked about it yesterday. Montenegro's running a CBDC program with them, right? There's a million other banks that are working with them all around the world.
Yeah.
But the only one that matters is the one country, the United States of America. Apparently, that's the only country that can push the price of XRP up, right? Not the rest of the entire global economy.
So do you know why? I have a reason for that, so I can fight back on that. It's the SWIFT system, and effectively the SWIFT. It is because
does the SWIFT system not work in the rest of the world?
No, what I'm saying is I think a lot of what relies. So yes, the case is huge because the United States is that central money center, right? That's the place where everybody wants to see stocks, bonds, yields, and crypto, right? Want to see it work and succeed there. So that's the first part. The second part is if they're able to get this, it's going to take something wild like SWIFT for this to even happen. I've already explained in a couple of videos why I don't think the SWIFT thing works, but I could be wrong. Been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But what I'm getting at is if they don't have something wild like that happen, then all of the crazy numbers go out the window because it's just not fun. It wouldn't be physically possible to even get there. It's going to take something massive like that. So in the United States controls effectively the sanctions that surround SWIFT, because what they'll do is they will kick, like Russia has been kicked off the SWIFT system. Why? Because it is the money transfer messaging system that allows money to move quickly between these countries.
They've been doing better than ever off the SWIFT system.
Factual information. I'm with you, bro. We have done some very bonehead things when it's not even our freaking business. But ultimately, all I'm getting at is it's going to take something huge like that, and the United States does control. And if that were the case, obviously they're not going to be anything to do with SWIFT. If they lose this freaking lawsuit, they're going to end up being a security. Things would change. I guess theoretically at that point, after everything crumbled, they maybe not crumbled, but after everything kind of toppled, tumbled, did what it did, and the crypto markets take the hit, then we could see some movement. My concern, though, for this is the rest of crypto. I know I've got a lot of XRP. I know that it will make me a lot of money if we pump. I understand that. But the rest of the crypto space is what needs to be the benefactor from this. Crusader, you don't want XRP to really lose this case. Whether you admit it or not, you really don't.
100,000% I want it to lose.
No, that's just can't be factual information.
Of course it can.
Because
I'd rather watch it all burn than let XRP.
Oh my God. It's so terrible. Smash the like if you think Crusader needs a drug test right now. Smash that like, because that is the most fugazi I have ever heard from you. You know that it will be terrible for the crypto space.
You know who's going to be fine?
Who? Bitcoin? Ladies and gentlemen, if it's your first time here, Crusader is a maxi. That's what we.
I'm not. I hold plenty of altcoins, but I will sacrifice all my altcoins and all my investments and everything if that means getting rid of XRP and the CBDC and all that other crap.
You know what I think at this point?
With a smile on my face.
It is a point of pride at this point, right? It's like you've stood so hard on it that you're saying that I'm willing to let the whole freaking world burn around me so that I can see XRP go into the ground. Bullshit.
Anything that it takes, bro. That's the way the founding fathers did it. That's the way we gotta do it.
Drop a 1 in the chat if you think that Crusader is full of crap right now and that he would not want to see the whole crypto space burn and see XRP succeed. Drop a 2 if you think that he really would like to see that. I'm calling
let it all burn.
BS.
Let it all burn. Bitcoin's impervious to any of this other drama, anyways. And if you got Bitcoin, you got nothing to worry about.
Okay.
You only got to worry about it if you got altcoins. That's the only time you got to worry.
All I need to know is that Biomex thinks you're full of crap. And Biomex, I saw your message earlier, brother. Look forward to meeting you down at Consensus. So I'm looking forward to running into you down there, brother. We'll grab something to eat. All right, cool. Let's move on from XRP and let's move on to the G7. But before we do, smash that like. We keep reminding you for a reason. Hey, and turn on the bell notifications. We've had people tell us that they're not getting notified that we are on. Turn the bell notifications on. That will help. And then welcome if you are on Twitter, if you are on Twitch, if you are on Kick, if you are on any of the other platforms, welcome you as well. We're glad that you're here. All right. Let's talk about the G7. They're always important, and they got a little something going on with CBDCs. G7 to discuss digital currency standards, crypto regulation. Okay. The G7 advanced economies will consider how best to help developing countries introduce central bank digital currencies consistent with appropriate international standards. We have to address risks from the development of CBDCs by ensuring factors such as appropriate transparency and sound governance. As a priority of this year, they will consider how best to help developing countries introduce CBDCs consistent with appropriate standards including the G7 public policy principle for retail CBDC. Outside of the G7, China has been leading the pack on issuing digital currencies. Now, they dive in and say the collapse of FTX last year was a serious wake-up call for policymakers to create regulation across borders. For crypto assets, there are a bit of diverging views among countries, but consensus is definitely we need more regulation, particularly after the FTX shock. Dude, they have ridden this FTX thing absolutely into the ground. It is always the thing that we were talking about earlier for them to point at, to then further push us into this world where they have full control of our money. You guys, we're beating a dead horse with these CBDCs. But when the largest number one country in the world is China that is actively using this technology, and you guys know what happens, or you should know, or your head's in the dirt, how the people are treated over in China, what the surveillance looks like in China, what the control looks like in China. How can you not line up the idea that now all of these other major countries are looking at China and saying, that's a freaking good idea. Let's do that. If you can't put that together, you are blind. Wake up. This is freaking scary. And I do think we need regulations in place, but I think the regulators need to be a cryptocurrency in the crypto space in particular, and have our privacy in mind, because that is the problem. The privacy, security is the problem. The centralization that's going to come along with it. I mean, they're going to have full control of everything. So I don't know. Thoughts on the G7 talking through this? Do you think it's just something that a talking point that they need to have, or like we need to be paying attention?
You're referencing like the CBDCs?
Yeah, just I mean the fact that the G7 is put like one of their focal points is talking about the CBDCs.
Yeah. I mean, China's making a massive move for cryptos again, right? They're trying to make Hong Kong a central hub for finance with crypto. They're allowing to, they're pushing all types of credit on banks. They're one of their largest. I literally had something pulled up on my phone showing, let me see if I can put it up here real quick. Yes, I can. Here it is. Basically, Hong Kong ZA Bank offers crypto conversions. All right. So it's accounts in cities push for being one of the largest crypto hubs. And they're making a massive move. This is an online bank. ZA Bank is an online virtual bank that's pushing into transfers of crypto, fiat, all this stuff. So they're making a big push for crypto in general. And, CBDCs, all these things, it fits right in, right? China's had their CBDC for like 2 years now. They've moved into the BRIC nations, and they're trying to do all this other stuff that is kind of away from what the G7 are doing. But we're seeing more and more China tactics here in the United States every single day. So we're heading closer and closer. Before they used to copy us, now we copy them. And, we're headed towards this CBDC one way or another. FedNow is coming out here in the next 6 months the next 2 months, out in June or July. And, that's not going to be a CBDC, but that is a stepping stone, building our way closer and closer to get trust into this system, to get closer to a CBDC. And, like I said earlier, right, we talked about Montenegro and XRP and CBDCs, like they all go hand in hand. We're literally feeding the beast that is going to eat us at the end of the day by supporting all this stuff. But, people, all they care about is making that money.
Yeah, we're not going to be able, you're going to be able to effectively make that money and then not get to choose how you spend it, which is a scary proposition. I just don't see any good outcome from the CBDCs, period. I just really don't. I can't in my right mind come up with something good that happens from it, because at the end of the day, with the banking infrastructure that we have right now, with the fictional reserve, that's right, not fractional, fictional reserve banking system that we have now, everything's already freaking digital. So what is the actual point? Because if you really break it down, there has to be something that is going on to change it from where it's at right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot wrong with the US dollar. There's a lot wrong with the amount of debt that we have created. There's a lot wrong with there's a lot wrong, according to the government, with the privacy that we can still hold from cash. All of the things that are wrong are not going to be what they're going to point at. They are going to serve this up to all of the countries as this savior, as this beautiful thing for you and me. It's going to make our lives easier, and it's going to make taxes easier for you to do. You're not even going to have to jump on TurboTax anymore because we've got you. Don't worry about it. You don't need to see an accountant.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they come out and they say with the CBDC, you no longer like they put all accountants out of work. You no longer need to do your taxes. We will know exactly how much you owe. We'll notify you and have it automatically withdrawn from your account, or we will deposit you whatever is owed back to you instantaneously. Never have to go do your taxes again and go through those.
And people will jump for joy for that, bro.
People will be. If there's a door, that'd be wrapping around the building of the line of people signing up for the CBDC.
Yeah. And so somebody in the chat actually was wrong again, says refuse to use the CBDC. So let me ask you, Crusader, is that going to be an option? Are you going to be able to opt out of the CBDC? No, you're not. Right?
There's no option. The mark of the beast is coming, and if you want to participate in society, you're gonna have to participate with the CBDC. If the only way is you go completely off grid, cut out from civilization, no communication on the phone, nothing to nobody, and live like George of the Jungle out there. Yeah. And 99.9% of the world will not do that. Right? They will say, "Hey, sign me up. Got to do my thing. Got to go 9 to 5 because I got to pay that 40-year mortgage now that I got." So there's no opting out.
My wife was talking to me recently, and she's not somebody that I would ever think would say this, but she was effectively talking about how we need chickens, we need cows, we need to go get property and get the hell out of here. And because she was raised in the city, I'm raised in the city, and you get comfortable with all these creature comforts that we have, right? But the reality is, with all the things that are stacking up and forming to push against our personal, religious, just belief structure as a whole and what life looks like is getting pushed against us. It's a scary day, and I do think that the only way you're going to de facto opt out is to go off grid. You and I have talked about this, Crusader. We're talking about with Danger Close Alpha doing this bunker and having land and like doing this stuff. It's not just a business proposition. It's not just because it would be cool. It's also because we do not love where things are headed in this world right now. And ultimately, this could be a backup plan. This could be an opportunity to opt out of the world as we currently know it. I wonder what kind of sanctions and things that they will impose on people that try to do that, because I think that will be that next step, right? It's like when they pushed out the thing, on everybody, when they pushed out the thing on everybody. Remember what happened? They basically suggested it was a really good idea at first. Then they started to kind of talk down to people.
Yeah, they created a two-tier system, right? There was a first-rate citizen and a second-rate citizen, and the first-rate citizen had a lot more advantages and benefits than the second-rate citizen, and they made all types of inconveniences for the second-rate to convert you into a first-rate citizen. And that's the exact same way, right? And it's going to come to a point where they're like, "Hey, if you don't want to convert, this is the deadline. This is it. From here on out, you're cut off completely," and they will push you to that edge, and most people will not be able to survive outside of the system, right? So they say, "Hey, there's no way around this. Like, I will not be able to have a job. I will not be able to go to the market to buy food. I can't hunt. I can't provide food. I can't provide shelter. I can't do anything without it. I'm just gonna have to do it. That's the sacrifice I'm gonna have to do." Plenty of people did it when the fog around the world started, and they told me, "Yeah, dude, I got to provide for my family. I got to work. I can't lose my job, so I'm gonna take it."
Yep, I'm with it.
Simple as that.
I've told the story before, how my wife was still nursing at that point, and they were pushing hard. And I had talked to my dad, who's an attorney, and he said, "Make them fire her." And I'm like, "Well, okay, let's talk that through." He said, "What they are doing is illegal. Make them fire her for that cause." Right? And Ohio is a at will state, so effectively, you can get hired or fired for, they say they don't like your clothing that you wore in one day. But effectively, she had nothing at all that she'd ever gotten in trouble for. So that would be what they, and guess what they did? They pushed her. She had to do it. She said no. I said, babe, do what you're comfortable with. No, she doesn't want to do it. Okay, boom. Then they said, what was the second thing they did? Second thing they did, I think they offered her something. Third thing they did, they put her on paid leave. And I said, look at how freaking fantastic this is. Now they're going to pay you to stay at home, right? So, and then effectively, finally, she ended up stopping working. But at that point, they had given her, she had weathered the storm, stayed through the entire thing. And now guess what? It's not freaking mandated because they finally realized that they weren't going to be able to push everybody as far as they thought they were going to. And I do agree with the comment that I pulled up a second ago that this was a test bed. And guess what? Next, they're going after your freaking money. And that is where it gets wild because that money is not only going to be that route and ability to control everything, but it is going to be, whether you recognize it or not, we are all debt slaves to the US dollar right now. This is going to take it to a whole nother freaking level. And they have ability to do things with that money that they otherwise can't right now. And so do not be blind. Pay attention to this stuff as it's happening. Have some sort of a game plan. That's what Danger Close Alpha is all about. That's the reason we've got the prepping event coming up next month. We want people to have some sort of a game plan. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family. So jump in with us if you're not already. DangerCloseAlpha.com. Jump into our Discord. Check that out. Okay, cool. Let's round it out with China. I know we were just talking about China, but there's some things happening in China that actually could be really bullish for the crypto space. And that was not all. There we go. China's credit impulse is picking up. Here's why it matters to Bitcoin. So China's credit impulse, which measures the change in new credit or bank lending as a percentage of the gross domestic product, has bounced from 24 to 26% this year, indicating renewed credit expansion relative to the growth rate. A continued rise in the credit impulse could contribute to the global financial cycle and support global risk sentiment, expanding global asset prices and global credit, according to a paper published by the Federal Reserve in November. Bitcoin, being a risk asset, tends to move more or less in line with stocks. Previous instances of renewed credit expansion in China have coincided with major bearish to bullish trend changes in Bitcoin. So a continued rise in the credit impulse index may bode well for Bitcoin. Check this out. China's credit impulse surged after the coronavirus-induced crash of March 2020. Bitcoin chalked up a six-fold rally to over 60K in the subsequent 12 months. This tidal wave of liquidity will continue to propel risk assets and crypto. Point blank period. What's happening here, Crusader? Why is this important as a whole? What the heck China's doing and how much credit they're extending to people?
Well, because they're propelling, they're pushing out credit right now when you're technically seeing a credit crunch here in the United States to make these banks go into crypto, propel this whole level of innovation, and then they're preparing themselves to once again ban cryptocurrencies and then dump it all back down once again. I mean, dude, they're flipping back and forth. I mean, I know Hong Kong is trying to do its own thing separate from the rest of China, but it's just madness what's happening over there. They're not actually proponents of Bitcoin. They're not actually proponents of anything decentralized, right? They're the complete opposite of that. But they have seen that, they need money. They need to make money. And the best way and quickest ways to make money nowadays, right, are with the best performing assets, aka Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And, they had a failure in the real estate game in the last 2 years. And they're I think as a country, they're trying to make up money and get their economy up afloat. They are the largest exporter, but outside of just exporting stuff, if things do go sideways, which I don't think they will, I think this is all propped up, puffing out everybody's chest against each other with Taiwan, the United States, and all these things. They need another hobby to make money, and cryptocurrencies they know makes money.
Yeah,
quickly.
Yeah, and effectively extending more credit, it's going to affect things the same way over here in the United States. People, that are in big business, especially, they use OPM, other people's money. You start extending more and more credit and make credit easier and easier to get. People are more and more willing to take on risk. And when they're more and more willing to take on risk, they buy more and more assets. When they buy more and more assets, the banks generally tend to do well and make more money, which then flows back. So there's it's a cyclical thing that's happening there. What is being suggested, though, is as this liquidity pumps in, some of these people are going to look at Bitcoin as an opportunity at that point with this extra money that they have, because it does say, and it does bode well for the rest of the markets. And when the rest of the markets have been up in the past, the crypto market goes as well. So these are all ideas that go deep into the droves of finance, but they're pretty basic. They're actually not difficult. It's like, hey, money's easier to get. Okay, I'm willing to take on some risk. Interest rates get lower. Okay, I'm willing to take some risk, right? These are just simple ideas that are put into place that end up being very complex when you've got all of these different countries making different moves. Bottom line, China is a big player in the world right now. Like Crusader was saying before, they have got a ton going on over there. And ultimately, when they make moves, you do need to pay attention. And that's effectively what's happening here. They're making moves that make money easier to get. There's going to be people, they've backed off on, they change their mind all the time, but they've backed off on the Bitcoin is, is illegal and you can't, invest and They're finally, at least for now, looking at it and saying, hey, we're going to let our big players make money on this because the opportunity is there. And that's, I think, probably as simple as that. Opportunity, we'll take it. And they're trying to fight the rest of the world right now, or part of the rest of the world right now, as they create their alliances and set themselves up with the BRICS nations and try to fight the US dollar. So it's important for their economy to be strong. Crypto fam, listen, we appreciate each and every one of you for being here. We lost the person that was asking to come up. So Twitter fam, we love you. We appreciate you for being here. That person is not going to come up because they dropped off. But again, you could be anywhere on a Wednesday afternoon, on a hump day, but you are here with Debate Crypto. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. Just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
And until next time, hodl
Like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.